Star Wars Celebration 2016 grows closer and closer, and both the filmmakers of Rogue One and Episode 8 have been teasing us. Today we have two really big topics, one involving a very spoilery comment made by an individual heavily involved with Star Wars Episode 9, and a set photo released by Episode 8's director, Rian Johnson. The cool thing about this info as well is neither of them are leaks, both coming from people directly and heavily involved in the production of the films. So first, before we get into the big topic, let's discuss the set photo released by Rian Johnson to signify he is wrapping the filming of Episode 8. Rian Johnson revealed to us Luke Skywalker's robe for the film in front of what looks to be a very large cliff, which was also teased by the director a few days ago. Now the robe itself looks a lot dirtier than the one featured in the finale for The Force Awakens, and this may signify Luke has gone through some type of battle. Another thing is we know Luke will receive a new outfit for Episode 8, more reminiscent of his Return of the Jedi attire. So the big thing that has everyone riled up all over the internet is the cliff face that continues to be teased. Some have speculated that this will be the location of the rematch between Kylo Ren and Rey, and that Luke will come and rescue Rey after she is defeated. There were also some set photos a while back of a group of dark-robed figures and armored figures on the face of the cliff that has led many to speculate that those are the Knights of Ren. The particular thing about this photo of the robe though is that it appears to be at the base of the cliff and not on the cliff itself. My working thought is that Luke is involved in some fight in which his robes become dirtied, and after the battle he discards them in favor of the more Return of the Jedi-esque costume. So the next piece of info is quite spoilery as to the fate of Luke Skywalker in Episode 8, so I warn you all that if you don't want to be aware of this, steer clear of this video and check out a less spoiler-filled one. So this comment comes from Episode 9's director Colin Trevorrow, and in an interview with himself and J.J. Abrams, he revealed a lot more info than expected when questioned about the Skywalker twins. When asked about them, he said this: though he says he has yet to speak with the original Star Wars stars, Hamill and Carrie Fisher, Trevorrow wants their presence to be even greater in his film, revealing he can't wait to find new places that we can take those characters. They are icons, but they're also people that have suffered tremendous loss and challenge over the course of all these films. So there it is everyone, straight from the horse's mouth, both Luke and Leia will be making it out of Episode 8 to be further explored in the finale. Based off of his comments, they may even have a larger role than in Episode 8. It's also interesting that he mentions the difficult things the Skywalkers have had to face, and although to us they are legendary heroes, they are still very much human, and are greatly affected by the horrendous events they have had to endure, first with Darth Vader, and now with their son and nephew, Kylo Ren. So right away, people are suggesting that Luke could very well die in Episode 8 in return for 9 as a Force ghost, but I don't see this happening at all. Based on Trevorrow's comments, they will be having pretty significant roles to play, and although Force Ghosts have been integral parts to the story, they have always taken a backseat, for lack of a better word, living characters. Obi-Wan and Yoda are a good example of this. Obi-Wan as a Force Ghost took a backseat, allowing Yoda to train Luke, and Obi-Wan only intervened to further guide Luke in the foundation Yoda had established. I also see this new trilogy being very reminiscent of the original, with the wise role model meeting their demise in the first film, that being Obi-Wan and Han Solo, and then a new teacher emerging to train the first of the new Jedi. Of course that being Yoda and now Luke, and in the second installment with them carrying over to the finale, but passing on the torch permanently to their student. Concerning Leia, I assume I know exactly why she is mentioned by Trevorrow to have a bigger role. There have been a lot of reports suggesting that Leia will be sidelined in Episode 8 fairly early on, after a First Order attack, and will not be seen until the tail end of the film, where she would arrive on Ahch-To. There were also a lot of people reporting Carrie Fisher was in Ireland filming scenes. This is interesting because we know Ireland has been the primary shooting location for Ahch-To for Episode 8. I would expect Leia to have a fairly small role in Episode 8, with it primarily focusing on the relationship that forms between Luke and Rey, and then return for a more integral part as the comment suggests. So what do you guys think? This is a pretty big deal, and pretty much 100% as it comes from Episode 9's director and not just a supposed source. I can't honestly say I'm too surprised by hearing this, as we just lost Han Solo, and to just kill beloved characters left and right may be a bad idea, especially after The Force Awakens. This isn't to say that Luke or Leia shouldn't die, simply giving us more time to explore them. Another thing to note as to why this is a good idea is it seems to me that the filmmakers have really been talking about all the pain and trials Luke has had to endure, and that he may be very different than what we expect. In The Force Awakens, Han Solo was still very much the Han Solo we knew from before, and it was great to be back with that fantastic character, but by all the information we've received, the case for Luke very likely could be much different. The writers and directors keep illustrating the point of all he's been through, and it's really teasing me as to the specifics of what all these comments really mean. So tell me how you feel about this information. It really is crazy to think that episode 8 is almost done filming, which could be a good sign as to maybe seeing some footage accompanied with Star Wars Celebration. I am really super curious as to hear your answers to the pressing question, who do you think Luke Skywalker is? And please tell me why. We have a lot of really intelligent and well-spoken people in our community, and I want to hear your take on Luke and his state of mind. Also, be sure to tell me how you feel about both Luke and Leia making it through episode 8. I can't wait to read your comments. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.